Damn, son, where'd you find this?
People don't be offended by the truth. They be offended because you called out the truth. Simple as that. They don't want to hear any other narrative that makes them look bad.
One thing I can't stand at this big grown age is somebody who act like cause and effect does not exist. Like, yes, your actions caused this outcome. Yes, what you did lit the match. Like, why are you surprised and playing victim?
Guys, Chico, they never lied.
That's how you know somebody doesn't respect you. They listen to reply, not to be understood. They cut you off. They minimize what actually matters to you. They laugh at your boundaries, and then they call you sensitive when you try to hold the line. They show up late, they cancel last minute, forget the things you've told them, because in their world, your time, your energy, even your voice aren't a priority. They're just an option. You see, there are two kinds of people. Those who adjust when they realize they've actually hurt you, and those who expect you to adjust so they don't have to change. You don't need to be disrespected loudly to be disrespected deeply. Sometimes you'll see it. It's just in their tone, in their patterns, in the silence after you're known. Respect isn't what they say when they're watching. It's how they act when they think you'll tolerate it.
Mantra, slave songs, slave ship, rip skin, made me rip bones. But no matter how close I am, my ancestors speak. They tell me the tide is in front on us like we're weak. I haven't been getting sleep, longing to sing until I surpass peak. Until they think we are equal, please. All I want is peace. My ancestors beat drums until their bones would bleed, begging the generations remember our story.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. What's up, what's up, what's up? Happy Monday. Peace, blessings, glory, praise, and honor to the Most High. Thank you for being here with us. Shout outs to my poets, writers, content creators, producers, singers, painters, authors, all of y'all underneath the sun. Big love. Hats off to you. Keep grinding. I'm looking forward to the future, what we can do together, creating these masterful pieces. I hope y'all staying warm. I hope the week is starting off fundamentally good for everybody. I got Coach in the building. Arcana, what's going on, brother? Grand risings to you. You see the title. I got the clip. And we got a special celebration for later. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. So make sure y'all tap in. Let me bring Coach up and we can get right to it. Hold on a minute. Grand Risings.
Hey, what's up, man? How you doing?
I'm good. How about yourself?
Man, I'm doing good, man. Happy to be here. How was your weekend?
It was cool. It went fast, very fast. Actually, the December is going by like that.
Yeah, it's already the 8th, man. It's smoking by.
Yeah. So you can't really play around with your time because things are just going by so quick. Before you know it, you'll be like, what happened? Where did the day go?
Right? Yeah, you definitely got to take advantage of the time that you got, man. It's blowing by fast, man. Too fast.
Well, look, let's get this up on the big screen. This is just one of many posts, many conversations that get brought up. So I'm like, why not go ahead and tackle that one? Start this morning off, man. I'm gonna let her get her bars off, and y'all let me know if you agree, disagree. We'll just take it from there.
All right, let's get it.
We don't have a race problem in this country. We have a problem race.
And this has nothing to do with skin color. This has something to do with the behavior that is coming from a certain group of people, Black people, that is not okay. Let me be the one to break it to you. They're calling you the N word and they're treating you like the N word because you're acting like the N word. Okay? This is how you're acting, and even your own ancestor would be repulsed by your behavior. The disgusting behavior that is coming from you guys is absolutely repulsive. And I am so tired of seeing you guys come across my screen doing the most absolutely animalistic things possible. It is disgusting. And you don't want to talk about the facts. You don't want to talk about how we need to fix the households and how we need to pay attention to the children and how we need to do better for ourselves. You want to blame white people. Go figure. You guys are completely disgusting. And I promise I will die on my feet talking about this before I die on my knees serving the degenerate behavior that is coming out of the Black community. It is absolutely ridiculous. And of course, I have to do my disclaimer. You guys know I'm not talking about all Black people, but I am talking about the Black people that makes it harder for Black people like myself and good Black people that want to do good things in this country. I am talking about the degenerates. I'm talking about you guys. We don't.
Initial thoughts, man. How you feeling about what she said?
I mean, she was a little fired up. I mean, I think she has some good points. She probably should have rearranged it with the disclaimer at the beginning. But yeah, she has some valid points, but she also kind of contradicted herself. But I understood what she was trying to say. I understood the point. What about you?
Oh man, I disagreed with the part where she says that some of this doesn't have to do with race, because to me a lot of it does. But I do get her when she speaks about there's a certain group of Black people who have made it abundantly clear that they have chosen the side that they want to be on versus the others. And I had a conversation with somebody before about this where it was like, why does it matter if this person grew up in a gated community and he's Black versus being in a impoverished neighborhood and he's Black? What makes him more Black because he had to struggle versus him who didn't have to struggle for it, right? So um I get where she was going with that part, but as far as the racist or the racism aspect of it, nah, a lot of that does play a role in this to me.
Yeah, I guess people just kind of, you know, when they think Black and struggle, for some reason they're synonymous. I don't know. Uh, some people wear that struggle with like a badge of honor. So others that don't wear like a badge of honor, they might be looked at. They tend to be looked at as, you don't understand what we've been through or what we're going through. And I think that's just something that we've held on to for so long. I mean, everybody's going through something, but I think it's just more or less how you plan on getting out of it or using that reference as a motivator or as a handicap. So it just depends on the mindset of the individuals. But yes, like I said, she has some points and some not so valid points. But what did you think? What's the motivator behind what she's saying? Is she just saying like for people crashing out, or is there something else that's or specific behavior that she's trying to target or identify?
One of the things I don't like about that clip is, it's just a clip, and you see it all the time. We take key moments in a interview or in a podcast or whatever, and then you post it because you're trying to draw the attention of people, but without all of the context, you're leaving out things, and then it's like, all right, well, where was she really going? So you would actually have to go find the actual stream or recording where she's actually having this elongated perception or point of view of what she's really talking about. I don't even know if this is a full length show or if it's just because, well, let me rephrase that. Somebody stitched it. So they took the clip and then they just added their own little side by side to it. So she's too vague. It's too vague. It's not clear specifically on what she's addressing. It's like you're talking about everything, but not everything at the same time.
So was the person in the video that was side by side? So he was kind of like saying, "Hey, look at her. She's also saying that it's not all, white folks or whatever the case may be. It's you got to take accountability on your own." Is that what stitching is? The guy in the video was kind of showing side by side. I mean, okay.
Yeah, it came off like he was just saying, "Hey, black people, it's your own race saying the same thing that everybody else is saying. Pay attention. It's not just us." That's what it came off to me. Like, I don't know. Maybe it's more to it. He didn't say anything. He was just kind of like,
yeah, I get it. And like you said, if she's hitting that stereotypes, then maybe the video would probably kind of touch base a little bit more if she would identify some key issues that she had issues with or some specific stereotypes. But I mean, I get what she's saying. This younger generation, they seem to be calling out things, but not necessarily providing solutions. So great points at saying that you need to hold yourselves more accountable. I guess it would just be speculative about which types of things that she was talking about. So kind of depending on which way you want to pivot and go from here.
well, let's put it in perspective. Do we care? Do we really care about change? Do we really want change? Do we really want the things that we complain about online? Oh, it's always the usual suspects. Always this, is always that. But then when you scroll up and down the timeline, you systemically see black people doing crimes, committing crimes, this, that, and the third. They barely try to show you. And I don't even want to make this about race. We specifically asking the question, do black people care about the things that they complain about? Or are they just complaining just to be complaining because they want attention?
I think both things can be true. I think they can care about it and just not necessarily have the, which is kind of crazy to say in 2025 with Google, the internet, ChatGPT. There's so many other mechanisms to find a path, even if you don't have one. But it's so many mechanisms for you to be able to find solutions to what people are complaining about. And it might not be 100%, foolproof, but it's at least a start. And then, yeah, absolutely, the change does take time. But that's one of the issues that nobody has patience anymore. Like they said, people want the instant gratification. They say they want instant change, and you might get instant change, but then again, it's the work you got to put into it to maintain that change. So those are some of the issues as well. And you see some people working in the community and doing some things, but I guess that kind of goes back to the initial question: are they doing things for the likes, the shares, and the clicks, or are they doing things to actually, manifest change? So that's definitely a good question and something to pose into the community, man. But one of the things I would say is it's okay to film so much online, but maybe we should start displaying results. Maybe film something over the case of 3 to 6 months and show the progress. Show how it started. Show some of the shortfalls, the limiting factors that got you, that kind of handicapped you in the beginning, and then show the resilience and how people can bounce back, and then show the ending product. So I think if we maybe did more videos like that, obviously they're more time consuming, but they can be over a lapse of time, and maybe that'll be more, it'll be more satisfying for people that are watching some of this content that's out there.
If you take all negative publicity off of social media, what does the internet look like? You get rid of drugs, you get rid of guns, you get rid of OnlyFans promoting, you get rid of black on black crime, you get rid of trolling, you get rid of the black man don't care about black women, you get rid of all of the stereotypical, narrated, concisely chopped up, beautiful scripted clips about how we are trash and negative. Get rid of all of that from social media. What does the internet look like then?
Should an episode of Pleasantville or Little House on the Prairie? No, you can. I mean, it could be a positive place, man. It can look like a lot of learning. It look like perhaps a lot of trades, like something you don't see. It's wintertime, and for all the trades out there, HVAC, plumbers, things that need to be winterized in the winter, it could be a bunch of videos like that going on. Ways for to help out and take care of your home if you have a home. Mechanics, winterizing vehicles, just different things. Things can be seasonal. It can change. A bunch of self-help projects. A lot of working on yourself. Make people to focus on different points of views out there that can be beneficial and open their mind to different things. So there's a lot of different aspects that you can take, but it just, again, because we talk about instant gratification and this quick cook area, how long is somebody going to stay in tune with that? Do we start to reprogram things and go away from the 30-second clips and videos to back to like they used to be, another 2-minute, 3-minute, 5-minute videos? What do we shift the focus on? More workshops online, so it's just going to be, how do you utilize these resources if you take away all of that? Because I'm sure if you did a percentage analytics on it, it'll probably be 70-30, 60-40, negative, positive. It's probably 80-20. We're just trying to, be positive. But with that much of a void, I don't know what the hell would happen, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I don't really think a lot of people would be on the computer anymore. You ain't got nothing negative to feed off of. You would have to reprogram your brain. You would have to rewire a lot of stuff, especially if you're accustomed to nothing but negativity all the time. You're going to go look for it somewhere else. It's like trying to wean off of alcohol or quit smoking. Them withdrawals are bad, like bad. It will probably be a blessing to a lot of folks, but I don't know if a lot of people would be able to handle not having that type of toxicity around them. I mean, it would definitely, I would love it. It would be awesome. On the average, I might see 3 videos or three posts where a black kid did something positive, made a transformation, or I might see something positive that a black woman did. Oh, she got a degree in aero physics or some shit like that. It's like, that's what's up. All right, show me more of that. But you rarely see that. And then one more thing I wanted to point out, because you said something earlier I wanted to ask you about. You said that she said something that was kind of hypocritical or contradicting or something like that. I just wanted you to kind of elaborate on that a little bit, because I wanted to know if we're pointing out or noticing the same thing.
Yeah, I can't remember exactly now, man. It kind of slipped away. I'll try to think about it, see if it comes right back to me. But just again, just some of the things that she pointed out, just as far as for as far as for Black community wise. Like I said earlier, it's just I just would have preferred if she would have gave that disclaimer, and they probably went in a little bit more detail as far as for specificities of who she was talking about, and gave a couple of examples. And that way, it would have been the message probably would have been well received versus kind of throwing everybody in the boat and then kind of picking and choosing as she kind of went along. But
How can you say you want change, but you continue to support stuff that goes against everything that you're complaining about? If I see on my algorithm a Black man has committed domestic abuse towards a Black woman, and then I go in the comment section and the arguments don't have no type of solutions, you're basically just pointing the finger at the other person. Well, you should have chose better. That's what you're attracted to. Oh, you're gonna blame her because of him putting his hand. We don't need that. What do we do moving forward? How do you address the problem? Nobody wants it's like the lack of accountability part to me is why we keep on ending up here. You out here letting your cousins and your nieces and nephews sell drugs and be out here in trap houses and dressing however they want. You're not punishing them. You're not giving them no type of uh chastisement for their behaviors. But then they are the same ones when you tap on your device, they're the same ones that's killing fetuses and putting like I don't know.
no, I think those are great points, right? So I think what you need is to get the conversation going. I think that's the hardest part. I think wherever the conversation is happening it's just happening. And if you want to see change, you have to adjust if you're the one seeking a change. So I think it's again, the internet is powerful. It's something that everybody needs to embrace. It's not going anywhere. Just need to figure out how to navigate with the internet. So with people having these conversations and these discords, I just think sometimes maybe adding a moderator, somebody to mediate the conversation, possibly. You know what I mean? If it's a bunch of people having a conversation, and it doesn't matter if they're agreeing or disagreeing, the important part is the conversation is being had. But then you would hope if somebody was to join that conversation and maybe try to add some structure to it, some valid points and some takeaways, that the individuals within the conversation will be willing to allow that to happen and maybe flow a little bit more fluidly. And so then you can probably, get some good takeaways away from there. So I think it's pretty cool. But again, if used effectively, and that's the key right there, is just using it effectively. So having a conversation, having the discord, whether, agreeing or disagreeing, it doesn't matter as long as the conversation is being had. And then at some point, people have to be willing to adjust and be open and, allow that structure to come in, and then maybe able to ask for questions, poll the people and see what type of change would they want if they're not capable of providing change. And some people are, it's the thought process behind it. They may have some of the best ideas and the best, solutions, but if they're around a bunch of people that complain all the time and don't necessarily know how to express themselves, that might be an issue as well. So just working on communication, continuously building those communication skills and being coachable. So again, maybe more people who may be more mature, able to express themselves in a better way, maybe hop on some of these conversations and maybe try to navigate and guide them in a different path or trajectory.
Also, the need to be right needs to be eliminated from all types of conversations. I swear, never go into these things just automatically assuming that you got it all figured out. Oh, well, this is my experience, so you can't tell me how to feel about this when this is how I grew up. This is what I saw. Well, you might have. Nobody's disqualifying it, but you can't disqualify somebody else's experiences either. We all come from different environments and conditions. You've seen things one way, I saw things another way. Let's take what we saw, let's put it all on the table and dissect all of it. I'm curious. All right, coach, you didn't grow up the way I did, so you didn't see what I saw. All right, let me know what it was like for you. What was growing up in dangerous areas for you? What was it like growing up in a gated community for you? What was it like growing up with parents that loved you? What was it like going to school for you? How did you deal with racism? How did you deal with black culture? How did you view black culture? How did you view music? How did you view this? How did that program you to be how you are? That's how you get somewhere. Not just automatically saying, "Oh, shut up, man. You don't know what you talking about. Everybody ain't like that. Everybody don't talk like that. Everybody don't think like that." How do you know that? Just because you didn't don't mean somebody else did. But then again, you said it. We'll spend a whole 30, 40 minutes arguing about proving the other person right or wrong, but that's not the point or the purpose. So that pride and that ego, that gotta go. Period.
So again, any conversation or anything that you're looking at trying to have growth or some type of advancement, progress, you gotta, what's the objective? So like you just said, all of that stuff is cool, but in the neighborhood, in your environment, you didn't only grow up, and some people may have, right? But that you don't only grow up with just the one demographic in your area. I mean, in America, you got blacks in the neighborhoods, Hispanics, Asians. You got a variety of people. Diversity. Some of the things that may separate you, might be, the financial aspects of it. Some people may be doing a little bit better than others, but I would just focus on experiences. I wouldn't focus on, black experiences, because I don't know what a black experience is. You know what I mean? Now I understand some things happen in a like the young lady was saying, as far as or like you mentioned earlier, you may have had it, financially difficult more than certain people, but there's other people in the neighborhood, you know what I'm saying? A different ethnicity that also have. Then we got to stop focusing. We only looking back at the 80s and 90s. So much has changed since the late 90s and early 2000s, but I think the growth mindset has not. People are so stuck in 20 years ago versus the last, let's say 10 years. Because in the last 10 years, things like Bitcoin, things like all those different coins that everybody's now into, from Dogecoin to Bitcoin to XRP to XLM. There's a whole tech generation that has bloomed since the 90s and early 2000s. I mean, there's a whole generation of multifaceted people and thought processes that have grown, except certain people that have gravitated towards certain mindsets. And then, like he said, it starts with the growth mindset. But if you're not willing to grow, you're not willing to expand, then everybody can't go. Then you get left behind. And if you're taking a step forward and you're still reaching back to hang out with people that are still doing things that you might not necessarily, do in your life at your particular point with your experiences, then that's something you have to think about and reflect on, because you can't have 1 foot in and 1 foot out. If you're trying to progress and move forward, then you're going to have to surround yourself with people with like-minded mindsets. You know what I'm saying? And if you don't want to do that, then you're going to bring people along with you that are going to complain. That's not going to add progress. That won't be productive. Got to stop looking at the only thing that blacks can do is rap and play sports. That's cool and that's great, but there's other things out there. Find another trade. Get into HVAC. Become an electrician. Change your mindset, because if you're only thinking of like certain people, because you're only limiting yourself to be around those certain people. So you yourself got to be willing to grow and get out of that environment. If you're not willing to get out of that environment, then you won't see much productivity. You'll have a lot of excuses on why things aren't working, but you won't see much productivity.
And that's what it is, a bunch of excuses. That's where it comes to me with the race part, where she said, well, she doesn't believe that has a lot to do with this, but who creates the conditions? All right, better question. Who creates the conditions for the culture that we see today? Who's responsible for it? Let's get that out of the way, because me listening to her, it sounded like we are here because of us. It has nothing to do with anybody else. A part of me believes that the information is out there.
Wait, explain what you mean by we are here. Where are
Well,
we?
the way that she described it was, this has nothing to do with racism or race. This is about black people not holding black people accountable for the position that they in solely. It has nothing to do with no other influence other than our lack of understanding our potential or our purpose in general. So if that's what she's getting at, my question is, all right, well, who created the environment? Who created the circumstances that we find ourselves in? Right? Because I take the blame for my lack of knowledge on certain things. I could pick the book up more. I could have paid more attention in school. I could have listened to my parents. I could have been more studious. I can't blame nobody here for me not picking up 48 Powers of Law or whatever book out there that might not be on a shelf in a library that talks about Black history. At the end of the day, I have to go out here and seek that information. But again, who creates the environment? Do we create the environment? Are we responsible for the conditions that we're in? Or is it bigger than just us itself?
I'm gonna say you create your environment. If you don't like the environment, then it's your responsibility to do what you got to do to get your ass up out that environment. Nobody's physically restraining you from doing anything. I mean, there's plenty of outlets out there. You just said you could have went to school more. That ain't everybody's thing. Sports, that's not everybody's thing. But the thing is, you got to figure out what your thing is. I mean, you got outlets out there from the military. Not everybody wants to do that either, but it's a way out. Everybody might not have the same opportunities, but you get up every day and put your pants on just like the next man or woman next to you. So you have opportunities. It might be harder than what other people have. Some people may have a head start, and I totally, understand and agree with that. But again, you got to get up every day and you got to put it in, put your work in. You got to have a plan. Like you just said, you can use the book 48 Laws of Power. You can use any book that's out there, but you do have access to it. When we were younger, we had a shelf full of encyclopedias that nobody read. Some people had L and K on their book. Somebody had A and Z on their shelf. But again, it's crossing and using those resources. We might not have necessarily been taught those resources, but there are things that when we wanted to put our energy into it, we got up and we went out there and figured it out. Again, it can be anything from sports, selling drugs, hustling, boosting, all the shit that people take credit for in these rap songs and all this other bullshit that you hear out there. So there's plenty of things out there that people could do. Is you have to deal with you choosing to do it or not. You have to make a conscious decision. If you want to get up, go out there and fail, learn from that experience, get up again, go out there, fail, learn from that experience, or go find some people who's successful with doing something and then continue doing that repetitive pattern over and over and over again. You can the system and all that other stuff. We've been hearing that. I've been hearing that since the 70s, man. But there's still people that get up out there and they're successful in what they want to do. Not saying that the system is not set up and designed for us to fail, but once you get past identifying that, now what are you going to do? Because you can say that for your whole entire life, or you can get up and make a change and put the effort into it. Because, I mean, again, it's all excuses, man. If you want to do it, you'll get up and make it happen. That's how I feel about it.
What do you say to somebody who blames the government? They blame everything on the government. They blame everything on Jewish people. They blame everything on everybody who has money and has positions of power, or they can sign off on the checks. What do you say to them? Oh, well, you made our taxes high. You put us in a situation where we can't afford to live where we live. You don't address the problems in our neighborhoods. You give certain education or access to certain levels of education to one area, but to the other area, you kind of deplete them of the same resources. You kind of created a lot of what's going on over here with the commercials, with the music, with the television and all of these apps. So what do you say to someone like that who looks at that and says, all right, well, you can say we have our issues and our things too, but what about the folks that are actually looking over the country, creating all of these different projects that are making it harder for working men and women to live out here and raise their kids?
I would ask them, what have they done over the course of their career or whatever it is, because you haven't given me much to work with. But if they're in business or if they're an entrepreneur, I would ask them, what have they done? Let me see your business plan. What type of circle have you surrounded yourself with? Who have you worked with about, as far as for necessarily your path and what you're going into? What field are you in? Are you qualified to be in this field? Are you happy being in this field? If you didn't talk about getting into this field and you're not happy, why didn't you pivot? Did you seek education? What exactly is it that you've been doing out in the community and the people that you surrounded yourself with? Do you vote? Are you familiar with your local government? Are you familiar with your local, people in the neighborhood as far as who you should talk to about all these things that you're having issues with? I mean, that would be the first thing I would start with. And then again, what type of community have you tried to build in order to correct the issues that you say you're having problems with?
Everybody has the same organs, the same brain, the same heart, the same hands, limbs, arms, eyes. If you want it bad enough, you'll go out here and you'll pursue it. Deprogramming and getting away from things that are toxic and they don't really serve real justice is probably something that is extremely difficult for a lot of people.
You said real justice?
it doesn't do you any good to be consuming pornography all day. And I'm just using that as an example. It's not I'm not necessarily saying pornography in general, but if you're sitting in front of a laptop and you're watching Real Housewives of Atlanta all day, then you're probably not going to really learn too much from that.
Again, it just goes down to what your objective is. If they're looking to probably, create TV shows, if they're looking at, you know what I'm saying, to be a director or whatever the case may be, I won't say it won't help, but it just, you are what you consume. You know what I mean? So depends on what your objective is. Then again, it's about having that plan. But yeah, like you said, if you just consuming junk TV for no particular reason, it's just maybe an outlet or a way for you to vent. I won't say it's nothing beneficial to it, but just make sure you got a plan and it's not consuming you.
And Nico, I don't think a lot of people want to go to school. And it's funny because my folks, they got their degree. Oh, well, they're certified. They can be a plumber, but for whatever reason, they're not hiring her for that position, and they ended up going to school for something completely different, teaching now. So I don't know. It's weird. I do believe that we should be taking up trades. We should be getting more degrees. We should be going to different classes and courses to kind of build our portfolios up. It's difficult to tell someone that they can do this when all they see is something else. So you have to be an example. You have to lead by example.
So like I say, it's all about it's the message and the messenger, right? So if you're telling somebody something, that's one thing. But if you educate them on something, that's completely different. Because if you're telling somebody something, most times they're looking at you like, well, why aren't you doing it? If you got all the answers, how come you're not doing it? But if you're educating somebody and you paint a picture, if somebody has a plumbing certifications and they don't have a plumbing job, in this day and age, you got to think outside the box. It's so everybody wants to be an entrepreneur, but nobody wants to put the work in, right? If you got a plumbing job, you can't get a job, work on your own plumbing at home and record it. Make how-to videos, right? If somebody at home that don't want to get a plumber, they're sitting there trying to figure out how to unstop their toilet, make a video on it. That's using the internet for positive versus negative. And you not only that, you're displaying your skills, showing that one, you can explain it and then you can demonstrate it. So, I don't understand. So again, if you got these capabilities and these resources and you need somebody to teach you, then ask the questions. Because if you have these talents, maybe you're not asking the right questions. And then maybe you're surrounded by the wrong people. Stop looking for somebody to give you a handout. Get off your ass and get up and figure it out. Google. It's too many resources out here for people to be steady blaming somebody else for not getting things done. And that's just the world that we live in is, sitting around and complaining and saying you want somebody else to do something. It's just not that easy. Everybody doesn't believe in you. And that's the other issue. Is so many people, they boast themselves up and with this social media, you can take pictures and you can do all these things and project yourself to be this great version of you. But when it comes to applicability, you're not actually going through any of the things that you're saying you're doing. You're not putting, any of these efforts into motion. And I think that's what people need to see. Absolutely. Security certifications, all those things, anything dealing with data, clouds, you know what I'm saying? All that stuff is good. HVAC, electricians. They're getting ready to start building these data centers all over the place. The one thing data centers need, those servers and all that stuff, they're going to need HVAC. They need to stay cool, stay warm. They're going to need water. They're going to need power. So these are all things that people can be working in trades that these centers are going to continue to be around that aren't going anywhere. So again, it just depends on who you're surrounding yourself with and what's their vision and what's their scope. If you with somebody who doesn't know how to articulate themselves and put pen to paper and come up with a plan, then you're probably surrounding yourself around the wrong people. Y'all probably complaining about some things that that can't get done. So it's just other things people need to look at as far as for the resources and stuff that they got going on. We said some people said Job Corps and auto body certifications. Absolutely. So those things out there that people can be working on. There's plenty of things. The sky's the limit. And going to school is not necessarily the answer for everybody, because everybody doesn't like to go to school. And now you're having the issues with student loans popping up. People are complaining about those issues. So yeah, certifications is the way to go. Working with computers, those are all ways to go in the ways of the future as far as for jobs that's going to be around. So definitely keep those things in mind. And again, go out to your local chambers of commerce, go out to your local rotaries, go work with some nonprofits, go out there and work with a bunch of other communities that are trying to give back, and they also provide jobs and opportunities. If a lot of people are good with speaking, they can go out there and work in the community, and they can teach. You don't necessarily need a teaching certification to go teach a class at your local nonprofit. So those are some things that people can work on. Still, one of the number one fears out there is public speaking. So that's something that people can work on. Practice that with your local organizations. So plenty of things that can be done out there. Somebody said we need some substance. What kind of substance you need, Nico? Talk to me about it. Different pathways for age groups. So there's some things out there that you can do. Personality assessments, DISC assessments, entrepreneur reports. You can have these people take these type of assessments, and it'll teach them what are they good at, what type of jobs that they're good to work for, what type of things are good based on their personalities and what they've learned so far up until this date. Degrees are great, but you just got to find and make sure that what school you're going to and the actual courses is something that you want to do. That's some of the issues you have now. And you don't have to go to a large university. Have them start out at junior college. Start out at junior college, take a couple classes, get a feel for it. So that way you're not worried about going into debt. You're just trying to figure it out as you go. You can get a small job as you're working with that as well. And you can do those things while in high school. Those are great points as well. But just something to focus on too, because a lot of things, how a lot of these students get left behind is they focus on doing other things while in school and not necessarily on the actual work that they're doing while in high school. And they can take some of those college credits while in high school as well. So that'll put them ahead of the curve by the time they graduate from school. So if they're taking extra classes or additional classes while in school versus focusing on working on a job. So again, that's why it depends on who you're working with and who you're talking to. So that way you can come up with a solid plan, because again, it's about having a plan. And that's what a lot of these young folks don't have, is a plan. They're just making it to school. And nevertheless, you're talking about what they're going to do after school. So those are things that need to come up. No, great point. College is not needed, but it's depending on what part of the country you're in. That's something that most people might lean towards. So those are some great points as well. What else you got, Nico? Set a framework for any young man just like you. Yeah, absolutely. I would say find a mentor. And it's important when picking a mentor, because you don't want somebody that's just going to tell you, hey, they're going to give you the right information all the time, pat you on your back and tell you this is what you need to know, or this is how you're doing a great job. You're doing a great job. You want somebody that's going to hold you accountable. In a mentor, you want somebody who's going to give you the good, the bad, and the ugly, or the good, the bad, and then give you some more good. That way it builds you up, breaks you down, and then builds you up again. Because that's the biggest issue, is people not wanting to be held accountable. People want to hear that they're doing good, and that's it, which is virtually impossible. If everybody was great at everything, we wouldn't have the problems that we have. So take that feedback and that constructive criticism. That's something that we've gone away from, as a people, is provide constructive criticism. steel sharpens steel. So if I'm giving you feedback on some of the things that you did great, and then also on some of the things that you didn't do as great, that's equally as important, because you're already doing things well. You want to figure out how the things you aren't doing well, you can turn those negatives into positives. So again, being open to feedback is very important, and then the execution of that feedback. And then not only are you receiving feedback, you should solicit it. You should be asking for the feedback. Hey, tell me what I did. You like what I did? Tell me how I can do better at that. Those are some things that people need to think about also. Feedback goes both ways. So again, keeping that stuff in mind, you want to make sure that you stand applicable, and you're actually executing the way that you see that it's going to be beneficial for everybody involved. Trades. Yeah, absolutely. Especially in this day and age, some people are thinking about leaving out of the country. So if you're thinking about leaving out of the country and you got a trade in the United States, just know that trade might not be applicable in another country. I.e., if you're an electrician in the United States, you're on 110 power. You go outside the continental United States, they're working on 220. So that trade might be good for you in the United States, but you might need to do some tweaks. Get on Udemy and find some classes if you plan on relocating out of the country, and making sure that you are still up to par and you're not setting yourself up for failure. So just keeping those things in mind as well. What else you got?
I just want to say this, man. We know better. We can do better, and there's not a single soul here watching or will watch at some point that does not have the intellectual capacity to evolve and become better than what they are. You are not a product of your environment. You do not have to be a part of it. And on top of that, you have to protect your spiritual growth. You have to be very mindful of who you have around you. You have to be mindful of what you're feeding off of, what type of information you're taking in from this person, from family, from friends. You cannot allow social media to dictate your growth or your identity. And a lot of this stuff has really corrupted us and made us rotten in the brain, man. Everything's like this is just crazy. It's absolutely ridiculous, man.
Well, you talking about my lifestyle?
My apologies, folks. I have some side stuff going on over here, but we know better. We can do better. Our own enemy is us. We are our worst enemy. Period. Because Satan will tell you that everything that is in front of you is for you, and it's really not. He'll tell you that the people that you are working with are your friends, and they're not. All the info, like if we really, really want to be better than what we are, there's nothing stopping us. The only thing stopping us is us not really wanting to go out here and succeed and pursue what we want to pursue. Doubt, shame. Oh, you got to fit into this narrative. Oh, you're not popular if you dress this way. Oh, you're not desiring to be a better person because you don't want to hang out with this, or you don't want to be in this type of element. The fear of being judged, the fear of being put in a box by your own peers is corny. It's cheesy as hell. We don't have no fellowship. You would rather tear down your partners and your peers, clown them about their shoes, clown them about how they don't have the perfect hairline, clown them because they don't make this type of money that you make, clown them because they don't get women, instead of saying, well, look, brother, let me show you something. Let me show you how to be comfortable in your own skin and not worry about chasing after this and that, because really what's for you won't have to put you out of your way. Worry about chasing God, chasing your lifestyle, your foundation, creating a legacy later on in life. Let's focus more on how to get these kids off the street, get them to stop idolizing and worshiping celebrities. Let's get them to think more about getting more healthier, eating better, thinking better, having better forms of communication without everything being angry and full of hatred and attitude. Communicating about what really is the problem, attacking and addressing the problem, and actually dissecting and uprooting what it is so that we can recultivate with healthy soil.
No, I well said, brother. I'll say this: generational wealth. It is more than just leaving your family a legacy of money behind. Generational wealth is making sure you're breaking those curses, um, those traumatic experiences, stopping it with you. Don't pass on the same traumas that you've identified that has been a problem and that you're trying to change your path. Make sure you address those issues that you had, that you have, or that you feel may be on the horizon. Make sure you have those hard conversations with people, because those are some of the things that we continue to pass on inadvertently. And I think that's what's really hurting us as a culture, is the trauma that we keep passing on to each other. Like I used to crack jokes, all the stuff you just said, I'm guilty of it. Talking about shoes, hairlines, funniest dude in the room. Then you realize, okay, then you start realizing how you start hurting people's feelings, and then you hurt your credibility too. Because one minute you're laughing and joking, and then you try to help somebody, and they're looking at you, and you're not necessarily have the confidence in what you're saying, because you may be so used to laughing and cracking jokes. So you got to realize that's another trauma that we grew up with. Being funny when it wasn't time to be funny. Acknowledging when you hurt somebody's feelings, and then the accountability to identify and then apologize for it. So I think little things like that is a start, small stepping stone. But I think as we realize some of the things that we have been known to do or we have done over the course of most of our lives might not necessarily harmful. It could be harmful to other people. So definitely just taking into consideration your personality and the way you have been may not necessarily be conducive for everybody else. And that's just a part of growth, and being willing to grow and then identify the problem and then execute the solution.
Well said. Well said. I do hope and pray like these discussions, we have them more frequent, right? Because a lot of us are tired. We frustrated. We want better. We want to see better for us in general. All of us are not out here trying to destroy, right? I hate that narrative that consistently gets painted. We have to nullify these things by all means necessary. Anything that is constantly highlighting us in a negative light, I understand why it needs to be shared. I understand why we need to see it, because it's reality. But we need to also find a way to highlight all the good that happens out here too, because everything is not just about destruction and chaos. We absolutely cultivate healthy lifestyles. We are loving, we are successful, we are brilliant, we are remarkable human beings. We have to find a way to start nullifying some of this negativity that's constantly being pushed in our face. And chastisement is not a negative. Time to be more examples.
No, I agree with you, man. I agree. Well said.
I want to give a shout out to everybody who pulled up for this conversation. We need to have more of these, a lot more of them, and I'm grateful for the feedback, for sharing y'all thoughts, man. Because for those who say, "Oh, nobody hears your voice, nobody hears your pain, nobody cares about what a black man has to say," you can't be vulnerable. You can't be this. You can't be that, man. Go ahead and get rid of that. Get rid of that mindset. That's a control mechanism. They want you to believe that and feel that way so that you can continue to come out here like a robot, perform for everybody else while running your own body down, running your own mental down until you ain't nothing but chaff in the wind. No, you human just like the next person. You feel and you go through just like the next person. Your voices matter and they should be heard. And these conversations definitely need to be had more. So I appreciate everybody who tapped in. Coach, salutes to you, bro, for holding it down. I had to step away because that's the unpredictability on my side. Stuff be popping up and I be having to get up and tend to stuff. But yeah, man, blessings to everybody in here. If you got anything you want to say to the people before we close out, I'll turn it over to you.
Nah, man, you know, holiday season is cold out there. Stay warm in spirit, and you know, keep lifting each other up. I'm grateful.
We about to get up out of here. We got a show later on. Definitely tap in, celebrating 3K. I'm humble. I'm real humble. It don't seem like much to somebody else, but to me, that's everything. Because I ain't trying to build a fan base. I'm trying to build a community. You know what I'm saying? So if you rocking with us over here, come through, kick it with us later on. It's going to be a hell of a show. I'll see you later on, brother. I'm about to go handle some business real quick. But y'all be blessed, all right?
Mantra, slave song, slave ship, rip skin, made me rip bones. But no matter how close I am, my ancestors speak, they tell me the tide is in front.